Japan, Part 117. At best, many of the things the child has learned are not in step with the curriculum in other schools. The mobile child in a highly mobile society such as United States is therefore caught in confusions, disruptions, and inefficiencies. In Japan, movement to different offices of the same firm is frequent, even if inter-firm mobility is not. But Japan's standardization of curriculum makes spatial mobility of pupils a much less serious problem than in countries with more heterogeneous school systems. Although preparation for entrance examination makes it difficult to transfer schools at high school age, some American believes that certain disadvantaged groups should be allowed to receive certification even if they have not met the same standards as others, and that certain minority youth should be allowed to attend bilingual schools. The Japanese approach would be different. They would not allow a school in a second language but would provide supplementary courses until minority students enter the regular track. Japanese traveling to French Canada, Belgium, New York, and other areas with dual cultures are surprised that minority groups are required to know so little of the dominant national language and culture. In their view, it is ultimately damaging to minority groups not to provide and require the same high level of training as that of the majority, or without it, minority groups would have lower standards of performance and would not be able to compete effectively in the marketplace. And regulations could not entirely overcome market forces. The Japanese problem with the Koreans, Burakumin, descendants of the outcast, and other minorities is admittedly much smaller in size than American problem with the minority groups. But their approach is fundamentally different. They have more confidence in the necessity of training the entire population to meet a high level of education standard. It is often said that the Japanese population is highly homogeneous, and by contrast to the American population, which came from many more diverse sources. This is certainly true, but Japan in the mid-19th century was more a collection of diverse fiefs than a single culturally unified nation. Japan has become a homogeneous country not only because of the new national media like radio, television, but also because there is common core of cultural transmitted to virtually the entire population. The Japanese encourage diversity in culture, art, cuisine, and style of life, but it is to be in addition to a very substantial common core. The core reduces the danger that cleavages will disrupt the social fabric and increase the chance that the populace will work together against crime and disorder and pull together when the national interest requires it. Japanese homogeneity did not result from the tradition alone, for up until shortly before World War II, regional accents in certain parts of the country were mutually unintelligible, and regional variations in cultural substantial. Homogeneity was created and maintained by social policy, and educational policy is one of the pillars of this social policy. Homogeneity results in a higher common base of general knowledge, so that education can proceed to even higher levels. Whereas in America, which has not pushed so hard for a homogeneous cultural base, a teacher must spend more time helping students of diverse backgrounds catch up to a lower basic level. In Japan, standardized opportunities and uncompromising uniform standards of performance make it more difficult for the students to explain their poor performance as being caused by the extraneous factors. The burden of performance is theirs. In turn, it becomes infinitely easier for work organizations to later demand the same high standards of performance as that required in the schools.